On the phone, we're talking with Elvis Monroe, Ben and Bryan from the group, getting into country music, coming up for a show next week, meet and greet with Randy Couture, UFC legend and actor, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, we are. And you know what? Actually, what's great is Randy's from Seattle, and his father used to live in Anchorage, so this is like coming home to him. Most people don't know that. It was before he was Randy Couture, the fighter.
Oh, really?
So this is like coming home. He was really excited to do this with us and be a part of all this. And we had him on stage last night. So
he also bought a new beanie and a new pair of snowshoes. He's like really excited to wear.
Yeah, earmuffs. I mean, he's going to look a little funny, but no one's going to tell him.
He's probably pretty safe to wear whatever he wants.
Bryan, you've been up to Alaska several times with Paperback Hero, and Ben, you've, of course, with Lifehouse, and I think what your drummer on is from, Matchbox 20?
Yeah, he's from Matchbox 20. Our fiddle player is from Emerson Drive, and our bass player is from Phil X and the Drills, and Phil X currently in Bon Jovi. So I'm the fortunate one, the guy in the band who has world-class players around him, and just so happen to be, best of friends. We're all one big old family. And then actually Randy's kind of like our honorary band member. We won't tell him he can't play or sing, but we put him on stage anyway.
We're working towards the time we can just give him that black shirt that says security. That's really the aim.
That's the goal.
But you guys are now doing country music. How did that happen?
When I moved to America, the place I grew up in Australia was quite we call it the bush. I live out in the bush. It was about 4.5 hours from the closest city. Very small country place, and obviously we had radio, but it was it definitely wasn't radio like you have in America, and I was never exposed to the music that was being made over here. So when I first came here, I actually, honestly, I fell in love with the early Ricky Nelson recordings, and then when Ricky sort of became, a pop star back then, but then he went into his singer-songwriter phase, which basically he is credited with, the first country rock band, the Stone Canyon Band. He was the guy that inspired the Eagles and Jackson Browne, and the record we made is just, honestly, it's just us being really honest with ourselves, two best friends writing songs about experiences and stories that we've lived, and we didn't have any rules, and it actually came out sounding like a country record, which is really where our hearts are at.
Well, and it was crazy too, because it was about a year ago. It was a year ago, February. We got to play on this radio show, and it was with Montgomery Gentry, and Troy Gentry he looked us up on the internet and showed up at our show. I get a tap on the shoulder, and it's about 2 hours before his show time. And the guy shows up early with his wife and taps me on the shoulder and he's like, "Hey, are you Bryan?" And yeah, and I turn around and it's Troy Gentry. And
wow.
He came to hear our show. And I think we told you, it's crazy because this is coming back full circle, and that's why we're coming back to Alaska, because when he told us this and watched the show and asked us if what genre of music we were doing, and we were like, it was more at the time kind of Americana type of thing, and he's like, "You need a fiddle player in the band." And when he said it, that's the moment David Pichette was actually in the room and tapped Ben on the shoulder and said, "Hey, I play fiddle." And the guys from Love and Theft were like, "You need to talk to him." We've done shows now with Joe Nichols, become a really great friend, and Randy Couture, Ben and I and Joe are going up into some cabin in Colorado to write for a week and hopefully get some songs on Joe's new record. And it's really exciting, and it's an exciting time, and to find out that in the country world, people like when we met Dierks Bentley, Dierks he geeked out on Lifehouse. He is a huge Lifehouse fan.
Really?
He named all these songs that he knew, and this has happened multiple times with artists. And you know what? We want to shout out to Eric Pasley for his song going #1. And that was the first country show that we were put on. We did a show with Eric Pasley a year ago, and he had just released a single like maybe 6 weeks later, and they've been working it really hard, and it just went to #1.
We're on the phone with Elvis Monroe. Ben and Bryan from the group going to be in town next week for a Friday show at the Loft, and tickets at brownpapertickets.com. And also going to be at a meet and greet with Randy Couture, and that's going to be Thursday at the Last Frontier Bar. And you guys, Ben, you play with Lifehouse, and Bryan, you play with Paperback Hero. Your drummer is a guy from Matchbox 20 and stuff like that. So what's the difference between rock that you guys do and now that you're into country?
I really believe the country audience is accepting of anybody if it's honest.
Yes,
as long as if they can, I think they're probably maybe one of the hardest audiences because they're so honest with their artists. Like if they see you're pretending and they see you're not real, they're going to see through it.
Yeah.
The country music fans definitely relate to honesty, and whatever that is, if you really be yourself, and I'll take my best friend and my singer as an example. We walked out on stage, like he said, on that show with Eric Pasley at Nashville Unplugged, and there's 400 belt buckles and hats looking at us like, who the hell is that guy on stage?
Yeah, and for people listening, Ben, Bryan, you have a rocker look. I mean, you don't look like country. You wear the guy liner, and you've got that hard rock kind of look and feel. So.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I don't know if it's that or it was the stilettos and fishnets that was kind of throwing him off. but I mean, we walked up there and these hard and fast, soul to the earth country dudes are looking at us like, get off our stage. What the hell is this? And by the end of the first chorus of the song, they forgot about the appearances and they gave us a standing ovation. Country music is something that is accessible to everybody. It's something that hits people in the right spot, hits them in their emotions, hits them in their hearts, and it's telling real stories. That's basically the crux of what country music is. It's storytellers, people sharing experiences, telling stories about stuff they've lived or something that they're experiencing or watching somebody go through. The way it's done is still relatively real. Guitars are still cool in country music. It hasn't really moved too far from its heritage and its roots. There are definitely traditional country artists, and
like Joe Nichols.
Wow. Like Joe Nichols,
right.
absolutely. And I think Dirk Bentley's walking that amazing line. Like he's one of my favorite artists, where he pays homage to those people, but he definitely does his own thing, and it has a modern twist to it.
It's been a journey, and a year ago we wrote this song, "Rebel," which is our first single, and we wrote this song, "The Golden Nugget," inside the Frank Sinatra suite, and we just kind of told our story, And when you see me, there's a bit of a throwback of like, who is this guy? Kind of thing, and I'm not going to lie, it happens every night we get out on stage, and this song kind of it points at that. To have somebody like Randy Couture, who's a great friend, go, yeah, I want to come along, because he's been doing this with us. He's been doing radio shows with us. He's been coming to shows, as many as he can, and we've been pulling him up on stage.
He's actually killing it on harmonica.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, he's actually really. He started playing about 6 months ago, and we definitely put him on the spot, which we're gonna make him do a solo on the air in Alaska. It's gonna be sweet.
Right.
And it's pretty amazing when you see pretty much the baddest, toughest man on the planet get scared by a microphone and a harmonica, and his legs shaking like Elvis. It's that's an amazing thing.
Is there any place where people can go to get Rebel yet?
Actually, on Reverb Nation, Brad, we have the Elvis Monroe site. There is the single on there. They can download it.
ReverbNation.com, Elvis Monroe. We're excited, Brad. Thank you so much for having us, man. And it's going to be very cool. And to get to hang around with our security guard, Randy Couture. And this is Elvis Monroe, and the song's called Rebel. I hope you enjoy.